Republicans or Democrats. We're none of these things. We want the truth, and where the truth lies, that is what we support. If the liberal Democrats are accurate on an issue, then we're with them. If the conservatives are accurate on an issue, we're with them. We are where the truth lies. We do not follow party politics, because party politics is asabiyya. وَمَنْ دَعَا إِلَى عَصَبِيَّةٍ وَمَاتَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ مَاتَ مِيتَةَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. Whoever calls to partisanship, party politics, and dies on that has died an ignorant death. Because you can't be with your party if your party is wrong. And this is a great tradition in Great Britain, the tradition of dissent. And that's why we want to see this country reinvigorated with the principles and ideals that made it great. This is a nation that I'm proud that my ancestors are from. This is the nation that abolished international slavery. A handful of people in London got together, less than 30, over 200 years ago, in a small room in London that's honored by a plaque. And they decided that slavery was an injustice and it was time it ended. And when they began, everybody scoffed them. But they persevered, and within their lifetimes they saw a law passed in the Parliament that abolished the Atlantic slave trade. This is Great Britain, and that's why Britain is great. Britain is great for what it does when it acts in truth and principle. And when it fails to do that, then it's less than great, and it has to recognize that. Because the Greeks knew that what destroys a people is arrogance. What destroys a people is hubris. It's the tragic flaw of every tragic hero. They cannot see their arrogance. And arrogance falls into, hubris leads to what's called ate, which is a blindness, and doing things madly out of your arrogance, which is followed by this nemesis. It's followed by a nemesis, and that is when intiqam comes. Wallahu shadeed. God has majesty and beauty, and if we forget His beauty, if we forget His majesty because we're enveloped in His beauty, we do so at our peril. And this is why the Muslims of all people should be the people that remind others of their own principles, of their own truths. The Prophet ﷺ reminded the Jahili Arabs, he said, دُعِيتُ إِلَى حِلْفٍ فِي الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ لَوْ دُعِيتُ إِلَيْهِ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ لَأَجَبْتُ. I was called to an alliance in the Jahiliyyah. If they invited me to it in Islam, I would have answered Hilf al-Fudul, because it was an alliance to defend the weak and the oppressed. And the Prophet stood by right where he saw it. He stood by right where he saw it. And this is why Shurayh al-Qadi, when the Jew opposed Imam Ali, who was Amir al-Mu'mineen, in a famous case, and he came to him and the Jew presented his argument and Ali presented his, Shurayh al-Qadi said, Aqdi lil-Yahudi. And when he did that, the Jew said, this is your ruler, and you're saying that I'm right? And he said, because this is what appears to me. He hasn't brought me sufficient evidence. And he said, if this is Islam, I'm a Muslim. This is akhlaq. لا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. Do not let the loathing of a people cause you to be unjust. Shana'an, according to Ibn Asakir, is a specific type of bughd. It is a bughd that blinds people from the goodness in their enemies. It's a blindness that does not allow a person to see what is good in their enemies. And when Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl came in to become a Muslim, the Prophet said, Alimtu anna min abika ya'ti al-khair. I knew that good would come from your father. In other words, he saw good in Abu Jahl, our messenger, his enemy, who was Fir'aun Hadid Ummah. He saw good in him, and the good came in the form of his son, Ikrimah. And this is why you cannot be blinded by hatred. We are not people of hatred. We are people that look with ayn al-shafaqa, with the eye of compassion. Because when we see people who are lost, we want to see them guided. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. No one truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. And this is why Imam Nawawi said, this love, يَشْمَلُ الْيَهُودِ وَالنَّصْرَانِ. It is a love that encompasses Jews and Christians. Why? And everyone else. Why? Because you should at least want for them guidance. But to hate them, to desire their destruction. The hadith al-musalsal bil-awwaliyah, the first hadith that comes in the tradition of hadith that we take from our scholars by musalsal, which is unbroken chain, is ar-rahimun yarhamuhum ar-rahman. Those who show mercy, the merciful will show mercy to them. Irhamu man fil ard yarhamkum man fis sama. And there's two riwayat, yarhamukum wa yarhamkum, dua and also reality. So those who are in a state of mercy, mercy will be shown. But as you are, so will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal Himself to you. If you are angry, you're not hoping for Allah. Because Allah tells them, وَاغْفِرُوا الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ أَيَّامَ اللَّهِ.